Now, to be honest with you, I think this is a bit of a cop-out from the Mexican government. At this moment in time, it's nothing else around the world, but as you can see right by here, violent video game tax is getting closer to reality. So Mexico has moved a step closer to taxing violent video games after the Chamber of Deputies approved one such levy as part of a broader fiscal package. The legislative proposal now heads to the Senate, raising the possibility of higher prices and increased regulatory scrutiny in one of Latin America's biggest gaming markets. A 2025 report by Human Rights Watch states that Mexico continues to experience extremely high rates of homicide and other violent crimes. The trend peaked in 2022 when 6 Mexican cities recorded homicide rates exceeding 100 per 100,000 residents. Nationally, the homicide rate has declined slightly in recent years and currently stands at around 25 per 100,000. However, an increase in reported disappearances during the same period suggests that the true rate of homicide may not have changed significantly, if at all. Much of the country's violence has been linked to drug cartels, which has proven difficult for the government to crack down on over the years. Well, they've always had this, haven't they? You know, in the film Man on Fire with Denzel, hell, even the one that was made in the 80s. In Mexico, they've always had so many people get kidnapped each day, which is absolutely insane. But seeing how all of this is going on, and they're like, oh, it's video games. No, it's not. Video games do not make people violent. They don't. Hell, in Scream, that's probably the best analogy for it. Horror movies don't create psychos, they just make psychos more creative. That's exactly what it is. But seeing how that New Mexico's Chamber of Deputies approves 8% tax on violent video games, is this going to become something like which is going to happen worldwide? And as you can see by there, they do actually have an image of GTA 6, which that's probably going to get a massive one. Oh, it can't be here, you can't do that. But while the video games industry's connection to real-life violence is much more dubious, it makes for an easier legislative target, yeah. It has now found itself in the crosshairs of the Mexican Parliament, whose lower house, the Chamber of Deputies, voted to approve an 8% levy on violent video games on October 17th. The measure was bundled into Mexico's 2026 economic package proposal, presented as part of a health tax. Yeah, this is wrong. Which also included higher levies on sugary drinks, tobacco, and gambling. It's almost like they want to take away everything, you know? The proposal can more accurately be described as a mature video game tax, as it doesn't just target violent titles, but any with the C, 18+, and D adult-only ratings, defined by the Mexican system of equivalences of video game content classification. Holy hell. Just, you need to put that down to video game classification, that is all you need. The first draft of the law was originally introduced on September 14th, with a budget presentation from the Treasury Department, claiming recent studies have found a relationship between the use of violent video games and higher levels of aggression among adolescents, as well as negative social and psychological effects such as isolation and anxiety. No concrete studies were cited in the presentation, exactly because they won't do it. They will not do any of these studies. They won't, right, we're going to play this video game, see how you go. Because, like we said, people who play video games, they're not violent people. They're going to be like that even if they don't play video games. You know, all these bad people in the world. And again, it's going back to the 80s where here in the UK you had Mary Whitehouse, who went about the video nasty craze. Hell, this woman in the late 60s, she wanted Doctor Who taken off the TV because it's damaging kids. This is how bad it's gotten now. That the people like that, who even back then when you had people going, you're a bit of a nutcase, darling, you know, regarding Mary Whitehouse, their movies, you know, if people look at them and they think that, then there's something already in their brain that is making them be like that. And now they're just going into actual governments. Those people are around. But again, no, it's not about violent video games. It's not about, oh, psychological effects. It's this, it's that. It's about making the government more money. Always has been. Here in the UK at this moment, we got the whole Digital ID and the Online Safety Act nonsense. All of that is just to make money for the government. That is all it is. And if there's no studies either, it's like, how do you know that? You know, and to be honest with you, you can't really do a study where you only got, We asked 1,000 people. In that 1,000 people, you could have a serial killer. You know, so many there. But this then goes on to what is next for Mexico's 2026 economic package proposal. The proposal now heads to the Senate, where it's expected to be discussed in the coming weeks. The Congress of the Union has a November 15th deadline for deciding whether to enact on the legislation. The current draft isn't clear on whether the levy would apply to both physical and digital sales, and where it stands on things like subscriptions, DLC, and other types of microtransactions. Should the general proposal be accepted, the Senate's version of the law is likely to clarify those questions. And it says that the violent video game tax would be stacked on top of Mexico's existing VAT, which has been sitting at 16% since 2010. Yeah, it's just to get more money. This is literally what it is. So you're going to be paying in total extra on top of how much the game is going to be no matter what. You're going to be paying 24% extra. What is wrong with these people? They literally just want to get more money out of people and not actually do the real things where people actually need help. No, we're going to tax you because you're going to play a violent video game which is going to make you crazy. Nah. Bunch of horse shit. It all is. But guys, let us know what you think about this down below. Do you think it's going to happen worldwide? If this passes in Mexico, we are going to see other governments around the world thinking we can do the same. But like and subscribe, folks. Leave your comment down below. As always, my name is Dan. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.